Coming up in this Fincast, man, I love it when the FedEx guy comes. A coral unboxing in this Fincast. Hi everybody, John here with another Fincast. We've got a coral unboxing for you here today, and I'm pretty excited about this because I haven't been giving my reef tank a whole lot of love lately. I've talked a lot about my big driftwood project and had a lot of interesting things going on with that, and coming up we'll be talking about tannins very soon and doing these tinted tanks for freshwater. But I want to talk about my reef tank today because Rainbow Aquatic Labs reached out to me and asked me if I would do a coral unboxing, and so they sent me $100 worth of coral. I paid the shipping, and they sent me some coral and wanted me to do an unboxing. I was like, okay, we can work with that. So a guy named John sent these. He contacted me and sent me the corals, and the FedEx guy came, and I was very excited. Let's take a look at the coral unboxing. Okay, here we go. The corals have arrived in the mail. Let's see what we have. Here's the real stuff right here. Nice thing, says Rainbow Aquatic Labs, thanks for your order. Heat pack. This is what we're really trying to get to right here. There are the frags. So here we are. Can't see a whole lot just yet, but there's a gold dust pally, Green Bay Zoa, it says chalice, have to check that out. Everything's on a frag plug, and we've got a Passalipora, I think. Oops, that came unglued. And we have a it's a torch coral for sure. One of the things you wonder about when you order corals online is, will they arrive in good shape? Does the shipper take the proper precautions to make sure that everything a coral needs to survive transport exists? So that's the first thing I was looking for, and this was very well done. And of course, really, it's not fair to really judge a coral the way it looks after it's been transported. But I'll just tell you that what I received was this is from his What You See Is What You Get page, an orange crush chalice. And then there was a gold dust pally frag. There was a green Passalipora frag. The Passalipora frag had actually come off the plug. I set that aside to be fixed later. I had lots of super glue around, and I was able to replace that no problem. And as you'll see in a moment, that frag turned out to be just fine. It had just come off the plug. That can happen. Then there was, this was probably my favorite coral in the entire batch. It was a What You See Is What You Get neon green torch coral, which is an LPS coral, and LPS does extremely well in my 120 reef. And so at the time I opened this, could not wait to get it in the tank and wait and see what it would look like, and we'll show you that in just a moment also. And then there was Green Bay Packers Zoanthids frag, and I love zoos. They don't do particularly well for whatever reason in my aquarium. Green Bay Packers sounds like as cool a color as as you can imagine. There's so many wonderful ones, and Green Bay Packers, why not? That sounds great to me. So all the frags came in good condition. Now for me, I always want to dip my frags before I put them in the tank. I used Coral Dip from Seachem, put it in a bucket, gallon of tank water with 2 capfuls of product, and put all the corals in there, and I let them set for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes or thereabouts, whatever it says on the directions, and that seemed to be fine. I didn't see any parasites coming off or anything like that, but you never know, and I just think it's good for the corals, so we went through that process. So now it was time to put the corals in my 120 reef. And I will tell you that I love my reef tank. I have not been giving it as much love lately as I have my freshwater aquarium because I just have so much time and I've been really engaged with my freshwater tank. But the reef tank is doing okay. But having said that, there were a couple of corals that whose time had come to be replaced. The nice thing is that this arrived at the time when I was ready to do that, and I had already drilled some holes in my live rock to put the plugs in. So I kind of had some places ready to go when Rainbow Aquatic Labs shipped me these corals. So that worked out pretty well. And I set each of these in place. And then before I really showed you what it looked like, I wanted to give those corals a day to sort of acclimate to my tank, let my lights come on, and I have my lights set. I have Hydra lights, and I wanted those to have the opportunity to come up slowly, ramp up, and I do sort of a blue light that's on at a very, very low level, basically a sunrise, sunset level that's there most of the time, and then they ramp up through a sunrise and go through a sunset. And I wanted the corals to be there during this ramp up period, so that when they came out the way that one would expect. And I will tell you that even right after I put them in the tank, these corals were so healthy that they were starting to emerge even better than I would have expected. So kudos to Rainbow Aquatic Labs for that. But anyway, a day later, let's take a look at what they look like. I'm going to play a little music, show you what it looks like, and then we'll go through them one by one. So first of all, let's look at that torch coral. Man, this thing is beautiful. And I have the perfect spot for it in the back of my tank. You can see I have a lot of Ophelia. Some LPS do very well in this tank. So I've got the frog spawn coral, which is doing really, really well. I've got a bubble coral, which is doing well. And now I've got this torch coral, and it is just in the perfect spot. And it looks super happy after one day, and I expect it to look even better after 2 or 3 days. If I have a chance to update you, I will, but I don't know that I'll have a chance to shoot more video before this is over. The Green Bay Packers zoos are in a spot where they're very difficult to photograph, but I can tell you that they are looking, in terms of health, excellent. Green doesn't look particularly strong under the color temperature that I've selected for my lights to make most of the other corals look good. So I'm not really representing these as good as they actually look, but they're very healthy. They're doing very well. If I had a little bit less blue in my lights, may sound funny, but blue and green zoos just don't pop in my tank the way other color zoos do. But anyway, they're very healthy. The green Postlepore is doing great. You can see the polyp extension is just amazing, especially since I had to re-glue it and everything, but it's in a very happy place, so that's doing well. The gold dust pallies, I wish I could show you these under the bluer lights during the sunrise and sunset portion of my lighting cycle, because these are absolutely gorgeous. Under what is my full lighting conditions, they just look kind of brown. But I can tell you when this starts to go into the more of the blue range in the sunrise sunset cycle, these are gorgeous, gorgeous pallies. So, but there it is. But the most important thing is did they arrive healthy? Yes, they did. And for my this is rated at a $15 frag. There was 4 or 5 heads on there, 2 big ones and 3 or 4 smaller ones, and they're all doing very well. And I can show you on a wide shot of my tank, pallies do extremely well in this aquarium, don't you think? So I would hope that this plug would grow and thrive and prosper really quickly. And then I wasn't expecting to like this orange crush chalice as much as I do, but this is a really pretty frag, and it looks great under my lighting. It's in a very happy place in my aquarium. It arrived very healthy, and I think it's looking really good. So let me show you a wide shot of the tank. You can kind of get a feel. This is a 120 reef, and you know, I really love this tank. I don't have a lot of fish. I've got 3 tangs, my beautiful pair of frostbite clownfish, and then I've got a couple of fish hiding in and around the rocks that I see occasionally. I do have a Spanish hogfish in this tank right now, which probably is going to be going to a museum aquarium that my company takes care of, because it's keeping me from doing what I want to do. I really like the fish, but I can't put any shrimp in there, for instance, because as soon as they molt, he eats them. And so he probably is going to go on to the museum aquarium, which is great. It's a bigger tank, and he probably will be happier there, and then I can do some other fish in this tank. But this is a tank that I really do enjoy. But I will say that, you know, I'm thinking a little bit about the thought of engagement. Tell me what you think about this. I serve on a number of nonprofit boards here in Roanoke, Virginia, the city where I live. And one of the things that as board members that we're always trying to do is we're trying to figure out how to keep other board members engaged. In other words, how do you keep them active with the cause and so forth and so on? And people come in and they have a lot of enthusiasm, and this is just like aquariums, right? You have a lot of enthusiasm, and then life happens, and or you're working, in my case, on another tank, and so you sort of lose your interest in the other tank. And so when John at Rainbow Aquatic Labs contacted me and wanted to send me these corals, this was an opportunity for me to sort of renew my engagement with my reef tank. And I think that's been good, because what happens is when you're engaged with it, you're spending time in it, and now you're invested in that aquarium, so you're more likely to be interested in the outcomes of whatever it is you're working on. Just like the boards that I'm working on, if you come in, I work with a service dog organization. You know, people come in and, you know, they haven't had a meeting in a couple of months over the summer, but all of a sudden you give them a project and they're like, oh yeah, we got to do this, we got to do this. Maybe it's fundraising, maybe it's training a dog, you know, whatever it is, putting on an event, and everybody's all excited about it because now they're invested. Once they've worked on it, they're invested in it, and they care about the outcome. And the same thing is true for our aquariums, right? So once you, now that I've just planted all of these corals, I find myself drifting back over to that aquarium more often. I'm checking on it more often. I'm making sure that the skimmer is cleaned out. I changed my my phosphate reactor media yesterday. Things that I probably hadn't done as often as I would like myself to do. I always tell people, if you take, if you would do as I say and not as I do, you'll have great success with your aquariums. But life does happen. We understand that, and we love our aquariums, but they're not always the most important things in our lives. Anyway, so the bottom line is that Rainbow Aquatic Labs sent me these frags. They came in good shape. I like the packaging. Everything was very easy online. Everything in terms of the billing process and the selection process and all of that, it was all great. Very user friendly and very customer focused, and I like that. So I would say that if you want to check out Rainbow Aquatic Labs, I'll put a link to it in the description with this video. But give them a look. This is obviously a new company. It's an up and coming company. Their selection isn't as big as perhaps some of the big coral houses online, but this is somebody who really cares and is trying to get started, and I don't mind helping them out at all, based upon what I've seen from what they've sent me, and in terms of you know, I got emails back right away. You know, so this is somebody who's very eager to please. So I would say give them a shot and see if you don't like these corals. And if you, like me, needed maybe to become re-engaged, re-energized with your reef tank, this is a perfect opportunity. So these frags, it was about $100 worth of frags. I'll just tell you, the Orange Crush was a $30 frag, the Gold Dust Pally was $15, the Green Poslopora was $15, the Torch Coral was $25, which I thought was a bargain at retail rates, and the Green Bay Packers was a $15, and so these are appropriately priced frags. All right, so there's a look at my reef tank. There's a look at the corals and the coral unboxing from Rainbow Aquatic Labs. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next Fincast.